Are you ready to find out how to actually build your personal brand, especially as a virtual assistant? In this video, I'm going to dive through a few unhinged but step-by-step process basically of how to be able to build your brand as a virtual assistant. This is coming from someone who has built a brand not as a virtual assistant but as a virtual assistant agency co-founder, and I've been doing this for the last 5 years as well, and also as someone who is a virtual assistant coach. So I've helped a ton of people how to build their own brand, how to make sure that you stand out in this market, and of course, how to attract your ideal clients. Now, the first one, I'm just going right into it, be an actual virtual assistant. What I mean by this is if you want to build a personal brand as a virtual assistant, you have to be one. What I mean by this is you need to be willing to do the work. You need to know what the work is, and you need to have studied and gone through the process of either you've gotten your first couple of clients or that you've actually done work as an assistant before. And I put this right front and center because a lot of people are like, oh, I want to be a virtual assistant. I want to brand myself as this, but you don't actually know how to do the work. And that's where a lot of virtual assistants are kind of getting a bad rap or just a bad reputation on, branding themselves as a virtual assistant, because a lot of other people who have hired someone who said that they're a virtual assistant before, they had to train them from scratch, or they just actually weren't virtual assistants, but they just wanted to become one. So I'm putting this first and foremost is if you want to brand yourself as a virtual assistant, get some experience. It's going to be hard for you to say that I'm a virtual assistant if you don't have any experience at all. Now, if you do want to gain experience and you don't know where to start on how to become a virtual assistant, I do have a full course on basically how to use ChatGPT as a virtual assistant, and I dive through what are the steps, what are the ways that you can become a virtual assistant, the different tools, the different skills you need to have. It's going to be in the description below. I also have a ton of videos on this YouTube channel on how to get started. So if you're not there yet, skip this video, go through the other videos first, and then come back here once you've gained a little bit of experience. Next is now you start to choose your clients. What I mean by this is choose the kind of people that you want to work with. Choose what industry, what niche, what kind of person are there. Build an actual person in your head that you're going to be talking to with your personal brand. The way that I did it when I was starting content for how to become a virtual assistant was I was talking to my sister, who at the time was about 15, 16, and she wanted to start learning how to work online. So that was the person I was talking to in my head. It was clear, it was a real person. Yours doesn't have to be a real person. You just have to kind of have this image of the kind of person you want to reach with your brand, with your services basically, and having that clear picture helps when it comes to creating the content, the things you're going to do with your brand that you're basically building. Have a clear picture of like who they are, where they live, what kind of business do they run, how long have they had that business, what are the problems that they might have that they would need your service or what it is that you're doing, what kind of things would you also want to be selling to them. Is it actually a service of as a virtual assistant, or are you selling kind of a book, a course, whatever it is? The important part is you have a clear picture of who you're talking to. Next is choose your avatar. Now, when I started creating a lot of my content, basically, I went by the virtual ate. Now, virtual ate basically, VA, ate basically means older sister in Tagalog in the Philippines. And of course, I was talking to my younger sister. So in my head, I created this persona, this person who was the virtual ate, who was helping a lot of people who had no idea how to work from home as the older sister, as the mentor on how to get started. And that kind of worked for a little while because that was something that I needed to put out there to kind of get me out of my own head. That's why it's really good to not just create, the persona of who you want to target, but the persona of who you want to be. And for me, virtual ate for a while, I think I did that brand for about 2 years, and it was super helpful because then when I was getting introduced in stages or when I was doing webinars, it's like, please welcome your virtual ate, Lee and Lacaba. So it was really easy for people to also associate me with that brand. Now, again, you don't have to do that yourself, but you want to build out the avatar of who you are and kind of that side of you that you are going to show online. Choose kind of just one side of you. So again, for me, I chose how to be a virtual assistant, how to work from home. I'm your virtual ate. I'm going to help you get there. That's kind of the point of creating your own avatar of your brand. So then it's easy for you to tap into that persona and you don't have to get stuck with the bajillion other stories you might have in your head. You get to choose and pick basically based off of the avatar. So it's the same thing of like, who is this person? You know, what do they do? What kind of lifestyle are they living in? You know, what kind of stories can they tell? So you're already refining within yourself the kind of brand that you want to show up as, because when you're choosing and starting your personal brand, you have to give people a reason to care, to give a crap. You want to give them a reason to subscribe, to like, and it's because you've created this persona of you. One of my favorite other personas in the virtual assistant space is from MK Bertulfo. Hers is just, she's FH mom. She's Filipino home-based moms in the Philippines, and for her, she's Mommy MK. That's how she's built her brand. And for every single person that she's come across, that she's worked with, that is her brand consistently throughout everything else. And it's going to be easier for potential clients, also other people or brands that who wants to work with her, to be able to partner with her because she's branded herself in that way. That's her avatar. There's probably other aspects of her life that she can share, but she's chosen Mommy MK. This is her life. This is her path story, basically. And she's been able to build that brand in the last, I think she's been building that last brand for the last like 10 years. And she's been able to expand through that. And of course, I highly, highly recommend that you do check out her out. I did an interview with her for the Skilly podcast a few months back, and she's fantastic. She's brilliant. She's one of the persons I look up to in this industry. But again, she chose an avatar, just like I did with Virtual Ate, that made it easier for us to tell our story. Next is you want to choose your platform where you're going to talk to your potential audience, as well as what format. So for me, I really chose, actually for a few years there, I was just all written. Like I didn't do video. I only really jumped into video, like I said, about 5 years ago here on YouTube. But at first, got a lot of clients from writing, from creating content, long form content on LinkedIn and on Facebook. And then I switched it up to these videos. And does that mean that I stopped on the long form writing? No. But that also meant that this is now has been my focus, because this is how I get to reach out to potential customers, to potential clients for my business. So choosing your platform is not just about the, where you're posting, but what are you posting? What are the things that you're going to be focusing on your content? You're choosing kind of your pillars of content, as a lot of people like to use. For me, my pillars of content is how to be a virtual assistant, how to hire a virtual assistant, and how to do that with AI. That has changed so much. Like I remember when it used to be how to use, how to create a content machine, how to do all of this that I've been doing. But in the last couple of years, it's changed to how to become a virtual assistant, or how to hire one, and how to do it with AI. That's kind of my content pillar. Those are the three things that my content are always basically going to revolve around. Now, can I deviate from that? Yeah, sure. I've done that a couple times. You guys have seen vlogs of mine of me traveling through different places, but it's still centered on those three. So you're choosing your platform, where you're posting, what you're posting, and what kind of content are you posting as well. Next is you want to make sure that you document and don't create. And what I mean by this is when you're starting out, you get stuck and you get overwhelmed by the thought of like, oh, I have to create a video, I have to do this, I have to create this post. But you want to just document where you're at right now and take people through your journey. And I've done this so many times on my channel, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on TikTok, everywhere else, where I'm just really focused on going ahead and documenting my day. Like, this is the reality of being someone who runs a virtual assistant agency. This is the reality of someone who is able to travel everywhere because that virtual assistant agency runs on its own. So for me, I'm attracting clients who want that same thing because I'm just documenting my life. So right now, as you get started, don't buy the fancy camera yet. Don't buy it. I literally started with just my phone. When I started, it was just me talking to my phone. That was how I started, because I was documenting that part of my process. You don't have to create like a whole brand, video, colors, whatever it is. Just start with where you're at, document that, and start building basically out loud, where you're documenting like, oh, help me choose my brand color, help me choose your font. Get people to, again, find ways to be interesting to people so people are interested in you. So document your life, do things interestingly, talk about like your journey about being a virtual assistant, your wins, the things you've gone through, what you're currently studying, what book you're currently reading, whatever it is, you're documenting what it is right now, so then you can show off to people like, hey, these are the results that you can expect from working with me. Next is to go ahead and spice up your portfolio or your resume. So what I mean by this is, instead of having this long document of your resume like you've done before, make it into a video, make it into something that's AI generated, where it's just a voiceover and walks them through through what you've done and what you can do for them. Find ways that you can stand out and you're not just kind of conforming to what everyone else is saying, and you're finding ways to build your brand, because versus other virtual assistants who are not building their brand, which is okay. This is a choice. This is not something that you have to actually do as a virtual assistant. But as you're choosing to build your personal brand, you are kind of making yourself stand out. So what are the ways you can stand out? You spice up what you're putting on of the results you've done. You're making sure there's numbers. There's making sure that there's data to back up what you say that you can do. So you're giving the people, your potential clients, the things that they can look forward to when it comes to working with you. That's what your portfolio is for, is basically giving them a preview of what it's like to be with you. Next is be the solution. What I mean by this is you're either giving value first and making sure that they understand that, or that you are finding ways, you're finding creative ways to be the solution to your client's problem. So for example, for me, for a lot of our clients coming into 2XU, they are overwhelmed. They don't know what to delegate. They don't know how to delegate. So for us, like a lot of our content is solutions-based. Like, don't know what to delegate? Here's a list of 200 things. Don't know how to delegate? Here's a process or a framework that we've created for our clients on how to do that themselves. Don't know what assets to create? Here's a list of assets that we've built for our clients. So be the solution to problems that they have and start building content around it, and that just makes the whole process just a little bit easier. Next is focus on what you don't do. So for me in 2XU, the way that I've done that is we don't do part-time, we don't do project-based, we don't do short-term, because we're here for the long term. We're here to build your second brain virtual assistant or executive assistant, as we call them. So that's kind of what I mean by focus on what you don't do. You don't do this kind of work, you don't do this kind of work. So then for people who are coming to you and seeing your content, they understand you already, and they don't kind of waste their time or your time going into and finding out what you do, because you already have what you don't do listed out as well. So you can put it in your content, you can put it in your LinkedIn, your Facebook, wherever you are posting. You're making sure that there's that clarity of what it is that you do and what you don't do. Next is celebrate your wins out loud. And don't sit in silence. What I mean by this, and I've kind of combined 2 points that I wanted to make at the end of this video, is basically share whenever you've gotten a new client, when your client gives you a compliment, when your client gives you a bonus, when they praise you some ways. Take a screenshot of that if that's on Slack, WhatsApp, wherever that is, or ask them like, hey, can you make this cool video with me of like sharing what my win was with you? So then you're making sure that you are out loud telling other people like, hey, this is what I can do for you. And at the same time, when you stumble, when you fall, when you're overwhelmed, when you hit that wall, talk about it. Because these are the things that, again, your vulnerability and your honesty, and you're just documenting your journey, is going to give people kind of that sense of, and it's real, that sense of connection with you. Because you're not just showing them the bright, beautiful things in your life, but you're also showing them the struggles, the things that keep you up at night, the things that make you want to tear your hair out. That way, you're creating that connection. You're building, again, your brand, that this is the kind of person I am. This is my persona. This is my avatar. These are the kinds of people I want to work with. And then the magical thing that naturally will happen as you keep building your personal brand is every single time that someone is in another event or talking to a friend and someone tells them like, hey, I'm looking for a virtual assistant. Like, oh, I know this person. Like they build their personal brand online, because that's the cool thing, is you're getting to the point where people talk about you when you're not in the room, because they know who you are, what you do, and who you want to work with. And that's why it's really important to, again, choose who you're targeting, choosing your avatar, choosing your platform, choosing the solution that you want to become in these people's businesses, and becoming that solution for them as well. And again, knowing what it is that you're doing as a virtual assistant is going to be as important as building your personal brand, because people can tell if you've never actually been a virtual assistant as well, and people will call you out on it. So it's better to build that foundation, build your stories basically, and start telling them, and just start showing the world, this is the kind of virtual assistant I am and who I want to be. Now, if you guys like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there. Comment below any questions you might have when it comes to building your personal brand. I would love to know. And if you still haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos every Sunday and Thursday on how to work from home and how to build business from home, which you guys can check out those two playlists right here and the latest video right here. Hope you guys have an amazing day, and with that, small steps matters, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.